Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Holloway for Poker News here, joined by Daniel Negreanu, who is up in Vancouver to talk about a very special announcement. He has a new partnership. Don't worry, he's still with GGPoker, but a new partnership with Kalshi, which is the first and largest federally regulated prediction market exchange in the U.S., overseen by the CFTC, which of course is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. D-Negs, this is pretty big news. Thanks for talking to us about it.
I'm like stoked because I've sort of been holding this for a while because I've been playing on Kalshi for quite a while. And, we've been sort of talking about how I could potentially help grow, Kalshi and whatnot, but it's so fun. Like I play Kalshi like markets where it's not about me making a bunch of money. Like I'm betting 100, 250, but I sweat the markets every day. Like, I got one that's so silly. I bet will Trump ban lab grown meat by the end of the year? I bet the no, but I had to lay a big price, right? It's just a lot of fun. One of my favorites is the other, like week one of the football. I had the Buffalo Bills against the Ravens, right? And I'm like, well, they're dead. So I sold half of it. I sold, like, took half my money back. And then I'm like, you know what? They starting to come back. I'm going to buy them again. I bought them 3 times and sold them 3 times. I ended up getting screwed because Buffalo won, which I was happy about. But you get what I'm saying. It's just a blast. It's super fun.
I'm the perfect person to talk about it, and the audience probably as well, because I've heard about prediction markets, right? I'd say I have a very elementary understanding about it, but for those who might not have heard about it or are kind of on the same level as me, can you explain like what the basic premise is of prediction markets and what Kalshi is all about?
Yeah. Okay. So important note, it's not a sports book, which is partly why they're, like you said, completely regulated in all 50 states because it's a prediction market. This isn't considered gambling, although, you could see it that way because the stock market itself is a gamble, right? So a market opens and they don't care who wins or loses, right? This isn't like they're not booking you or anything like that. Just the market changes based on, where the action lies. So adding, for example, football, right? You can watch a game, you can watch a football game and you buy, you put $100 on one team. Then you start to see, you know what? I think they're going to lose. And you can, click the tab and be like, well, what can I cash out for? So I put 100 in, they'll give me back $70 right now. Okay, I could do that. Or I could buy more. And one of the cool things about it is this. Let's say you're watching that football game, right? You can bet one side, cash out, win. It doesn't matter if they won the game. You won money, right? Later, you could bet the other side. You could see that change. You could cash out. You could win again. Then you can go back on the other side. You could literally trade games where the outcome of the game doesn't even matter. It's just whether you're on the right side of it, right? I do a little bit of the political stuff because, like I said, there's, you can bet on weather, you can bet, football, always like some of the political markets. I have some bets on a guy that I think is going to win, but I bet the no because I think, how politics go, right? Scandals, dun, 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 something's going to happen. So it's fun to predict what you think's going to happen to the numbers. And, again, like I said, I think there's something for everybody because you can bet on whether Justin Bieber's going to have a #1 album. Like Amanda will like this too.
There's definitely something for everyone because unlike, sports books and some other things, it is actually available in all 50 states, including Georgia, Texas, Florida, California, some states that other stuff might not be involved there. As you mentioned, you can kind of trade anytime. And there's like no limits. You're not going to get cut off. I know like I'm sounding like I'm shilling about this. I'm really not in terms of I just learned about this when I knew I was going to interview. I had to dive into it and educate myself a bit more on these future markets. And it is backed by the CFTC, like I said, and they've been around since 1974, independent U.S. agency. So like I'm like, all right, this stuff is legit. How did this opportunity come about for you?
Well, I mean, I was already sort of playing on it a little bit, and obviously Brian, my agent, reached out to them and said like, we could potentially, push it to a new group of people because I was surprised to know that like a lot of the poker players I play with, they're like, they didn't know what Kalshi was. They never heard of it. I'm like, really? Oh my God, you'd love it. It's like right up your alley. Like, what do poker players like to do? We like to make prop bets on a wide variety of different goofy markets that we come up with, right? And there's a whole bunch here. And, maybe in the future, there's nothing up there right now on this. But one of the things I thought about where we discussed is like maybe some cool poker markets, right? Everyone has an opinion on, okay, will GGPoker hit the guarantee it's super main event, right? What about putting a market on? So you bet yes, you bet no. So if you think no, you bet no. And you bet, and then you can like, there's a whole bunch of other things too. One of the things you got to be a little careful of with any sort of market is whether it's manipulatable, in a way for big, but that's not really a concern with something like that, right? Where, it's 2,000 entries and, they're either going to hit the guarantee or not. And so I don't know. I just, for me, I fell in love with it. Like I said, I've been playing with it for quite a while, sweating it. And there's, like I said, there's some long-term ones you can do. shorter term, like just one game, you can just have action on that. Or like I said, you can say like, all right, who do you think is going to be the Democratic representative in 2028? And there's you can bet yes, you can bet no on AOC, on new, whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just a lot of fun where you can basically put your own predictive talents to the test. And the cool thing is this, you can make money doing this. I'm not trying to make $1 billion or nothing. Like, I do it for fun. But if you're smart and you're sharp, like you said, they're not cutting you off. Like, many sports books, you win too much, they're like, nope, sorry, Tom Brady, we don't want your action.
One thing I read about these markets that seemed really interesting to me is how accurate they tend to be over just like general polls or something, because people are actually betting their hard-earned money on it, which is just, interesting. And you already answered one of my questions, which was, how will this be applicable to poker? How do you see that? Is that something you'll advocate for, you think, with Kalshi? Is like, hey, we do have these things in poker that we bet around, the WSOP main event, will it get so big? Will it hit this guarantee, et cetera, et cetera? Because that's something me as a poker player, I could see myself, getting involved with.
Well, absolutely. That's certainly something that, like in the works, is some sort of poker markets. Now, because like you mentioned, they are regulated, right? So you have to be like clear and careful on not doing anything related to sort of like games of chance, if you will. So I don't know the legalese, right? I'm not a legal expert, but, I think there's certainly a lot of markets related to poker that we can put up. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to do like, will Daniel Negreanu win a bracelet in this series or stuff like that. But there's a whole bunch of fun ideas that we can, trade on. And I think we'll see that. I think we'll also see, right now it's a US only, right? I do think, hopefully in the future it expands beyond that. But as of right now, it's like I said, it's regulated in the United States, all 50 states, which I think is fun for a lot of people who don't have access to a lot of the other options. You will have access to Kalshi.
Yeah, that is, I think, one of the most attractive things for some people who are outside of regulated markets. I'm no longer in Nevada, and there's a lot of people like me who just don't have access. So Kalshi can be very appealing in that regard. Now, you are actually up in Vancouver, Canada, right now for some streaming GGPoker, and I've got to ask in terms of GGPoker, this doesn't affect that sponsorship or anything like that, correct?
No, obviously it's like a different thing. And listen, I'll tell you the truth. Me, GGPoker, WSOP, we're family. You know what I mean? I'm in that family. So obviously anything that comes across my table, I check in. And, this is one thing I think people really underestimate, is how willing GGWSP is willing to play nice with other people, right? You have a competing sites sending players to, Bahamas. You've got like Phil Nagy sending people, during the World Series of Poker itself. The broadcast was done by Poker Go, was sponsored by PokerStars, right? We have like, they have like a very good idea in terms of how to grow poker as an industry. And they saw this as a good connection, they said, oh, well, this would be really cool. So they were very supportive of it. And I was happy to hear that. And yeah, so the idea, the sort of the I don't know if we were saying this yet, but yeah, whatever we are. The idea that we came up with, me and Brian, is like, well, we won't get people sign up, right? Using code DNEGS. So I'm going to, out of pocket, not GG, not Kalshi, me, I'm going to put up money to get somebody a package to the super main event in Bahamas.
That's also like, that's like $30,000.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but you know what? It's cool. I wanted to sort of like really kind of, and then this is what I've been in poker for a very long time, right? And part of what you learn on both sides of the industry is, marketing and certain things and like what works, right? Well, an opportunity for people to have, like you said, a package worth $30,000. That's a carrot that I think, and because I want people to start trying it. Like Amanda's mother, I want her to I think it's so fun for a lot of people that I know that, I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about the stock market, all that kind of stuff. But now I'm learning a little bit through this. And, you're watching the graphs and you're seeing your bet go up and down in value. And the funnest part is should I cash out? Should I cash out? And I usually cash out, right? But I cashed out the Buffalo Bills one, and that one got me. Okay. But hey, that's part of the game.
It's your Buffalo Bills are going to kick the shit out of my Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. Just throwing that out there.
I may have some money on I might be buying Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise.
Too, like for people who do bet sports and things like that, right? You want to look for like as many markets as you can, right? For the better price. And you'll often find that the price is going to be better, right? Because it's simply just like what do you call it? Like 1%, I believe, ish, right? Depending on the size of the buy, in terms of what you're. Yeah. So sometimes you'll see like, whatever line you see at your casino, and then you go, oh wait, the line is better on Kalshi. So it's just another opportunity for people.
Let's talk about this WSOP Paradise. You said you're going to give away a package. How do you know how that's going to work exactly right now, or you still got to figure out those details?
Well, I believe what we've talked about is we're going to do a draw for everyone who signed up to Kalshi using the promo code DNEGS, which in addition to that offer, this is a really good offer. If you put $100 in action, you put $100 in action, you get a $40 bonus. So that's like 40% of your money already, just for putting $100 in and put it in action, as I said. And then, yeah, I believe what we'll do is we'll do like a random draw for one of the people who signed up. And, I'll meet them in Bahamas. Maybe I'll give them some pointers. Maybe they'll give me some pointers. I don't know. Maybe it's, it's like, a young superstar who's like better than me. I'm like, hey, he's okay. Help me. I don't know. Let's go, buddy.
I'll be one of them signing up using your code because I currently don't have it. How does one access it? Is there an app? Is it desktop? What's the best way to do it?
I will say this wholeheartedly. You definitely want to download the app. You definitely want to download the app. It's available on browser too, and that's what I'll be messing with when I'm on the stream. But it's very user friendly on the app. It's a lot. I'd say it's probably a little easier to sort of digest, and it's very convenient. You just pop it in your phone, download, and then I believe where you put, make sure you put the code in. I think it's where like you put your birthday in. I'm not entirely sure, but make sure you put the code in, because if you don't put the code in, no package for you.
That's fair. And let's talk WSOP Paradise real quick. You're going to be in the Bahamas. Can we expect the daily vlogs to be back just like they were last year and over the summer?
Yeah, we're going to be doing the daily vlogs. Obviously, this is a big series. A lot of people look at the buy-ins and are like, whoa, this is crazy. Part of that is the partnership with Triton. We're going to have the Invitational again. We've got all these big, super high buy-ins. I'm excited about some of the big PLO stuff. And then the Supermain. I really think they're slightly nuts, because when they said 50 million last year, I'm like, you're just nuts. This is sincere. Then they said, what we'll do? Let's make it 60. They're like, I don't know, like they always go big, right? And this year I expect to be, even bigger and better than last year. And that's the good question. Like, I wish we could put the market up now. Is like, will they hit the guarantee? Right? That's a lot of entries. I'm gonna say miss by a little, but I was wrong last year.
Me too.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, I do want to get your take on one thing before I let you go. And that's just, I know you keep your fingers on the pulse of the poker world, and we're talking about big things. And right now, some of the biggest heads-up matches poker's ever seen is taking place at Triton in Jeju. Ozzy Katola, Monarch, Alex Foxen's involved there, Jungle Man, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming you're aware of these things, and I'm just curious your thoughts on that. And if, is there an outside chance because of this GGPoker WSOP Triton partnership, maybe we see some really high stakes heads up matches at the WSOP Paradise?
Well, I do believe that he called me out to play too. He had some choice words for me. He seems to be very loose with his tongue on Twitter in terms of like how brazen he is. And I haven't really watched a lot of it, but I've heard, and there's been rumblings like he wants to play. You should go play him. And I'm like, I don't care that much about stuff like this. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's weird. It's all just it just came out of the blue. Like, who's this guy? Like, what's he? You're playing for $6 million, $10 million, and you're all loosey goosey. It's just very it's a strange dynamic. And I've heard some things behind the scenes that probably I shouldn't share here in terms of how the matches are set up and what sort of betting odds there are, or whatever the case may be. But it's really hard to understand this guy's motivation. I guess he's like trying to market his product or whatever, but he's doing so. I think it's I don't know if the ROI is going to be good on this for him. I mean, he's picking on some really he's picking on, the creme de la creme.
All right, Dean Eggs, thank you for taking the time to chat with me for Poker News and all about your new partnership with Kalshi. I know, once again, what's the code that if people want to check it out that they should use?
No, you're going to use code DNEGS, and then you'll get, like I said, you put $100 in action, you'll get a $40 bonus.
There you go. Good luck up there in Vancouver, and I will see you in a few months down in Paradise.
See you there, buddy. You're going to need suntan. I'm good. I mean, like the lotion stuff. I don't use that stuff.